Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript Potty, and my buddy Rhett. We're just writing some code. This is what I like to call a Super Monday. It is Tuesday after a 3-day weekend, and they're generally pretty rough. It's always nice to have a 3-day weekend because like you can unwind and stuff. But that Monday following is usually, is hard. You still typically you'll quite often still have like 40 hours of work to do. You just only have 32 hours to do it in, and and all of that. And usually you're tired, because you like I don't know about you, but I tend to if I have a bunch of days off in a row, I tend to sort of gravitate towards staying up later at night and waking up later in the morning. So there's that. But anyways, we are doing end-to-end testing today on Cypress. The Cypress actually created like or sort of, I don't even know how, because I was kind of watching over, and I don't know why I noticed, but there's a problem, and I wouldn't call it a problem, but there's like something that I was hoping would be like this keyboard um, was like acting weird, right? What am I trying to say? Um, there was something missing on the keyboard. So when I run the keyboard one, and maybe I just noticed like, oh, I should get that in keyboard. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. The first test always takes forever. So I'm just going to kind of demonstrate it. So if I add two of these things, add, and then do this, and then hit tab, tab, tab. See how it went to this guy here, and then tab went to that guy there. Um, the and I what I haven't tested is the enter. Like if I hit enter, does it delete it? Yes, it deletes it. So that's pretty cool. Um, what I'd somehow noticed while I was working on this was that when you tabbed, it was tabbing vertically through these and not through here. And I was like, oh, okay, I really want to be able to tab like this, right? So from the visualization to the update button to the delete button, then to the next visualization. And so that is not being caught in our current testing. So this is, what I've done is I've sort of changed my mindset on how I like to code things. What I like to do is I like to write the code and then write all of the unit tests and then write the end-to-end tests. And but another sort of other way I like to do things, which is kind of in conflict with this, is I like my commits to be sort of about very specific things. So the problem is that as part of my process of going through the commit, unit testing, and end-to-end testing, as part of that process, um, I also hit on I found an issue that is not really related, but I can't really finish the end-to-end testing without it. Or and since I can't finish the end-to-end testing, I can't do a commit. I've got myself into I have two rules that are sort of kind of creating like an infinite loop. And I have any place I've ever worked where we have like heavy mature CI/CD processes. I noticed that a lot. I noticed that developers get caught up in these sort of infinite loop sort of situations where it becomes like almost impossible to get anything done. So just because you're like, oh wait, before I can do this, I can do that. Before I can do this, I got to do that. And I would say that and then generally those things kind of work themselves out. You start adding like little rules. Okay, well if you're in this situation, then do that. If you're in that situation, do this. Like I would imagine in a larger setting with more developers and more people working, a larger team, what we would probably settle in on is, okay, this is its own bug, and uh, and and that's going to be worked on its own. The problem is if that is the kind of bug that probably wouldn't be a high priority, and this issue would get more and more difficult to build as time goes to fix as time goes by. And then like if something does happen that causes this issue to not make like the keyboards to not be feasible, then this issue doesn't sort of get buried in with all these other issues. It's easier to kind of fix. But all that said is basically 0004 keyboard probably should um, loop should start once it gets to the point where it's created three things. It should probably start tabbing and then establish that it um, can in fact um, tab into these two, and then it probably also that we can actually click update and go to an update and then click here. Then I'm assuming I can tab, yeah, back there, hit enter again, then tab, and then delete. And then there should only be two. So that's probably what we want to do in tabbing. And now that might seem silly, right? But the thing is what's weird about all this stuff is when you start coding it, I mean, like it's like since that's where our spotlight and focus is, it's all pretty straightforward. But this is just going to be a bizarre, maybe not even a memory. Like it's going to be really hard to remember these fine details in the future. And so basically we're like locking those details in with the end-to-end testing. I think that's what I was. The other thing I was kind of thinking about is this naming scheme. I I'm thinking anything that starts with 00 is like a larger framework type of thing, and then anything that starts with 01 would be like a property, because I do want to, before this is all said and done, I do want to add like something that tests aspect ratio, because that's another thing that like in the future, like so when you click in here, right, we have an aspect ratio of 3.03, and the reason is because this is 3.03 wider than this. Um, Obvious, super easy to explain. We will absolutely forget that. I will absolutely 100% forget that when I get deep into some other thing. I won't even remember like what was the deal with aspect ratio. I just won't remember that. So locking that in at this point, the sort of catching the basic details will be very, very helpful in the future. Um, so so those are the two things I want to get done in end-to-end testing, and I do think it's going to take a couple days, which is another sort of thing I need to bring up, is that end-to-end testing used to take a fraction of the time that the unit testing is taking, and now end-to-end testing is definitely taking longer than unit testing, which is, I think, a good thing, because it's like these are things I don't want to forget. So it's like more obvious that it's doing things I want it to do than um, before. Than the unit test. The unit test, it's sometimes I'm like, so what value does this bring? So I don't know. Anyways, so let's go to our Cypress tests. Let's go to the package and just delete everything else, and then let's go to our Cypress tests. And then, so that's our coverage. We don't want to be in there. We want to be in Cypress. And man, it makes me very nervous that we have this many pending changes, 30 different files worth of pending changes. I normally do not make commits that big, but I'm trying something different now. So, and then yeah, I think it's in the E to E, and then yep, these are the things. So I see myself thinking more on like where things are as opposed to searching. I think maybe in the past I would have thought to myself, oh, okay, this is 004, keyboard CY, and then I would have come over here and used this tool. And there, I would have found it. So that would have been faster. I don't know. I think maybe it's better the way I just did it with the, because it's easier to remember like sort of the structure, the file structure and everything if you kind of use it. But anyways, so it looks like our 004 keyboard. And see, I think anything that's keyboard in the future should probably be like 0041 or 4A or something like that. So from here on out, like anything in 004 with that prepended. And these are just new ideas that I'm kind of coming up with. But so let's just run this number 4 one again and see what we get. Because I believe we end up with 3. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so at this point, it would be good to tab. All right, so let's go back to the 4. I don't even remember this code at all. So here's where I escape. And then I get app icon. So I'm guessing this is what creates the 4th one. And now, do I have a tab, a way of tabbing? Yep. So let's do this. Let's try CY tab and see what it does. It has been a minute. And CY stands for Cypress. So I think what I'm expecting it to do is end up here. Let's make this a little smaller so we can see the whole screen. I don't know where we're at. Let's tab twice and see what happens. I don't even really know exactly where we are in that. And we might have screwed it up by interacting with things. I don't know exactly what's going on. Let's try this. Let's just try clicking the enter button. Okay, so I thought I saw, I don't know. So hit the escape button. Okay, and I don't really know exactly what's going on. I don't even know for sure. Okay, let me comment out these 2 things. Let's see if anything different happens. Okay, so this is what puts us into the, okay, so then if we escape, I'm guessing this is what closes that menu down. Yep, and then this is what clicks that icon. Okay, if that makes sense. And then I guess it makes sense to click the icon again at this point. And that would put us into the, so it didn't work though. I'm really confused. I see what app, oh, maybe it's not apps icon anymore. I bet you it's something different now. I bet you this one is, yeah, so actually it took a long time to fail, but eventually it said, I can't find the apps icon, and that's because it doesn't exist anymore. So if we inspect this, I think what we're going to find is, and see, I'm basically just coming up to speed right now. Let's see if I can click on this little guy. Okay, so that's table rows icon. So I think what we do is, and we'll hit save. I don't know. Oh, here's what we want to save. And it's kind of wild. Oh, okay. So we ended up here because um, we didn't, yeah, now we're back here. That is not what we want to do. So what we want to get is our visualization. It's kind of a pain in the butt to use it this way. Let's go over here. So we want this. We want to get this guy here. And we'll get 3 of them. We should get 3 of these app vizzes. I believe we just say like this. Control V, and then like I think if we come into this thing here, our last thing, see, it selected all 3 of them, and then I think we can check to see that there is 3. I think that would be a good test. And I think what we need to do is like give this a name. And I don't know what this is. This is some kind of weird object. It's not like what you would think it is, or what I would think it is. But then I think we can say viz this dot length should equal dot equal. And the problem is I don't think this, all right. I don't think that, so the problem is, and this is one reason why I would never, I'll never have Cypress in with my application again, is because I'm not getting the help, the contextual help, because this is, because for some reason the IDE just can't figure out that I have 2 different kinds of tests going on. But so I'm gonna have to go to ChatGPT and say, okay, so I have this Cypress code. Ooh, I have to go. Want to check if there are 3 elements. 3 app dash viz elements. All right. So this is the line. So we want to make sure that there's 3 of them, right? And then the next thing we're going to want to do, and that'll be tomorrow, is check the, or is select the very first one, I guess, and then, or maybe select up top again, focus up top again, and then tab through. So this did give me a positive, so that's a good win. So yeah, I think the next thing would be to kind of focus on our, and I just had it a second ago. Let me Control Z that. I want this. And then I'm going to hit Shift Control and go all the way back to where I was just at. And then basically I want to do this dot focused. I think that might do what I want it to do. What I'm hoping it'll do is it'll focus. No. Dot. Okay. Okay. I have this, but I would like to focus on this icon. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, okay. I said focused, but I want to focus. I want to tell you. I'm not asking what it is. I'm telling you what it is. Okay. Now I don't know. Okay, it's working, but I'm seeing this. It's working. See, we're coming up to speed. It just takes. Oh, so use click instead, but I don't want it to click. Or so maybe that's what I want to do. I don't know. This is where I'm just like randomly using whatever it gives me. And it did not, the copy did not work. So it's supposed to be trigger and then focus. Actually, you know what? I just want to try tabbing and see what happens. This one we had a tab in here. Crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, CY tab. I'm very curious. And then I have to go because I'm probably already late. But it is Monday. I doubt. I think we're all probably going to be struggling today. Today is struggle bus day. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so tomorrow we'll get it to tab here. Make sure that it's still that it's the focused is the app, and then to tab here. And I don't know. We'll move on from here. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.